What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Touring Your Rain Reloaded channel. If you are new to the channel, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. So y'all can see by the title, we are going to be talking about what I deem to be the king of music and basically all this nonsense that continues to spiral years after his death. It's a shame we're still going through this even to this day, but we're going to continue to push right on through it because the truth shall definitely prevail. But there's no way that I was going to be able to handle this topic of discussion by myself. So I actually have two people up here. One has been on my channel several times. One has been on my channel a couple of times, and this person you haven't seen in quite some time. But I'm going to give each of them a proper introduction one by one. So the first person I'm going to bring up is Afro Elite. What's going on?
Torian, how you doing? I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I am doing great. It definitely is. I can't wait to get into this discussion. I'm glad that I'm going to have you up here. And the next person I'm bringing up is someone who is a fan favorite. You know, you probably haven't seen them on here in a while, but that's okay. They're still around. They're still fighting a good fight. You know, they were right there on the front lines when the Bill Cosby situation was going on, and they're right there on the front lines with the Michael Jackson situation. So I'm bringing up none other than Miss Nicole's View.
Hello, guys. Hello, gentlemen. How are y'all doing? Thank you for the invite, Torian.
We are doing well. We are doing well. When I first came across that one article, I wanted to do it by myself, but I said it's one person I could think of that I could reach out to that could help me out with this, and they are probably just as big as an MJ fan as I am. And they said definitely let's do it, but then, you know, some things kind of happened and we couldn't do it, and we had to reschedule. And then you reached out to me and said Afro wanted to be a part of it, so now we have a trio up here. And what's interesting is Afro actually did a video on this subject matter already. Afro, you want to tell the people a little bit about what you discussed in your video, just in case they haven't seen it?
Okay. Well, in my video, I pretty much just read the article in which the judges, because they have kind of revived the law, which allows the statute of limitation to extend. So because of the statute of limitation extending, the two accusers, which is named Robson and Safechuck, those are the two men who are accusing Michael Jackson of these allegations. They went back after his estate, saying that Michael Jackson and his corporations, MJJ Productions and MJJ Ventures, were in charge of protecting them as children, and they allowed Michael Jackson to, you know, do what they say he did, and they're trying to sue these corporations for money because they were not protected under the supervision of Michael Jackson, which I said in my video as breaking the story down that it kind of falls flat because the investigation proved that Michael Jackson didn't do anything. So you can't sue the corporations for not protecting you when the allegations did not happen, when the allegations were proved not only to be inconclusive, were proved not to happen due to a lot of the inconsistencies in both their stories, the timelines not matching up. There's really no credible witnesses. They're all paid for. They're all doing that for monetary gain. So it was proven that both of these two men who originally said Michael didn't do anything lied, and now that the judges allowed the statute of limitation to extend, they went back after his corporations for monetary gain. So I talked about that.
Cool. And that's just a small summary, because I know that the video was more lengthier than that, but that's just a small summary of what Afro discussed in his particular commentary. Now I'm gonna get to you right quick, Nicole, because yours is very interesting, because you've actually been able to talk to a couple of Michael Jackson's family members in the past, to the point where it's almost like some of them became regular fixtures on your channel when it came to updates as far as that goes. Can you tell the audience, just in case they are unaware or living under a rock, who were you able to speak with in Michael's family?
Well, when this all happened, this happened around 2019, and this is when HBO released that whole entire propaganda puff piece. It was basically an entire lie. Many people believe it was tailored for pedophiles. I mean, let's be real. I mean, the entire thing was sickening to even try to sit through and watch. But through that, I was able to interview Scott Ross, who was a very famous PI for Michael Jackson's when he went on trial in '05. And I was lucky enough to get him on because I went to Cosby's trial. So it's funny how this is all intertwined. Yeah. By me going to Cosby's trial, I was able to meet these people. I met Scott Ross. I had him on my channel. And then certain fans saw it, spread the news, and it got back to Taj Jackson. And then by that time, Leaving Neverland had came out, and it was a big war to fight against the mainstream media and get the actual facts out on social media. So we use social media as our tool to fight back against it. And that is how I was able to be in connection with Taj and know some of his family, interview them, and let them also speak out.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And that's nice. And that's a great thing that you're able to help the family get the word out there the right way. And it's dope that they came to the new black media to do this, especially since we know that over the years, the Jackson family, more so Michael than any of the others, but Janet to an extent as well, have been wrapped up in controversy that has been spun by various mainstream media outlets that are either still here or not here anymore for some time. And I'm glad that they came to you and on more than one occasion, to speak about this, because they believe that you were honest and you were going to put out the information and you weren't going to make them look bad, because it's like, how can we look any worse because of how the media did, well, in their case, their uncle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Cool. So now that we got through all, I guess you can say, the introductions, we're going to go through some of these articles. I asked my guests to present at least one article today that they wanted to speak on. And there are 4 of them. Afro, I'm going to start with yours, because yours is the more, I would guess you could say, the more older article. And I'm actually very interested about what you have to say about it. And it's this one right here. Let me zoom out a little bit so that people can see a little bit better. And you can go ahead and speak on this.
Okay. Well, the article is saying that there was a maid who worked for Michael Jackson. This maid who worked for Michael Jackson was actually paid by Hard Copy, which was a news publication in the 90s, where she did an interview accusing Michael Jackson. So it goes as follows. Michael Jackson filed a $100 million lawsuit Thursday over a, quote, hard copy report about an alleged videotape showing the entertainer in a sexual encounter with a teenager. So what happened is that Hard Copy, which was a publication, they did an interview with an ex-maid that was fired from Michael Jackson. And the ex-maid said that she saw Michael Jackson in a shower with underage children. She saw Michael Jackson doing things multiple times, and she was always told not to say anything. She was threatened by Michael Jackson not to say anything. And then when the prosecution cross-examined her and she was under oath, she actually confessed to being paid by the publication, which was Hard Copy, to $20,000 for that interview. So, and she also confessed that she never saw anything that she admitted to in that interview. So that was a slanderous interview that Hard Copy paid the ex-maid to make about Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson actually sued the whole corporation or the publication $100 million on that. And that's something that the documentary brought back up, but they did not bring up the fact that Michael Jackson sued the Hard Copy publication because of the lies that were proven in court that the maid was telling. The maid still does do interviews and things like that, but I found this to be very interesting because this doesn't really get brought up enough.
Cool. Yes. And this was back in 1995, as y'all can see by the date, January 13th, 1995. It said Michael Jackson at the time, excuse me, was 36 when all of this happened. And it's crazy because I was and well, in January when this happened, I was still 5, but I was turning 6 that year. And it's just crazy how all of that, back then, thank God there wasn't social media, because I can only imagine how much, I guess you could say, of a media hurricane this would have been, even if they had social media. And it was still crazy even without it. And you got to think, at the time, he was still performing, he was still touring, he was, the History album was getting ready to be released. And to think that he had all of that going on in the background while still performing and entertaining thousands, maybe millions of people around the world. I couldn't imagine being in his shoes, of having to do what being in the craft that I love, and then having to have all of these legalities going on in the background. That had to be very stressful. Nicole, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Yes, I do believe he won that lawsuit. I don't think she had to pay $100 million, if I'm not mistaken, but she did have to pay him. But this is great because it's with this whole entire ordeal. I do recommend folks who don't know or don't understand the allegations against Michael, you have to go watch a documentary called Square One, because it explains everything from how this all happened, and as to why now we have folks like Wade Robson and James Safechuck out here pretending to be victims of Michael Jackson, which just isn't the truth. Watch that Square One. It's on YouTube and Amazon. It is highly recommended viewing because it breaks it all down. Basically, these guys are trying to use the same platform, the same blueprint, I should say, that Evan Chandler, the first father who helped, concoct the whole entire Michael Jackson molested my 13-year-old son, Jordan Chandler. This is where they're getting it from. They're trying to even use some of the same people. Everything goes back to that case, which is why it's called Square One, because in every one of the cases where folks have used their kids to try to go after Michael, it's all been about money. It's never been about, let's go take you to trial, although they had to in the 2005 trial. They couldn't, because they changed laws to where folks couldn't sue and all that kind of stuff. So all of this ties into that case. All the people that have been around Michael, thousands upon thousands of children of both sexes, because that's another thing. They like to make it seem like, oh, he was only into boys, which is a lie. He had all sexes, all ages, all races in his house. So this is what they're doing. And if I don't know if y'all know about James Safechuck. He jumped on the lawsuit a couple of years after Wade tried this, because Wade has been after Michael's estate since the past 10 years?
Yes.
Or 2019. So Safechuck and his family, they were sued with their business separate, sued for like $24 million, I think. And so Safechuck is like, aha, well, let me go jump on this lawsuit train with Wade and see if I can get something out of it.
You're right. And if you don't know, also too, James Safechuck was also in, I think wasn't he in a Michael Jackson commercial back in the day during like the bad era?
The Pepsi commercial.
It was a Pepsi commercial. Yeah, it's like if y'all are old enough to remember, y'all can watch. Y'all will remember it, but you probably didn't know that was because it was just some random kid. But you can go online and look on YouTube at the commercial. He was the kid that snuck into Michael Jackson's dressing room while Michael was out on stage performing, and then he put his hat on and everything like that. And then Michael Jackson walks into the room and said, "Were you looking for me?" That's the commercial that James Safechuck, as a child, was in, and then ever since then he's been hanging out with Michael like pretty much ever since. There's like another picture, I think they're like on a private jet or something like that too, but that's him as a kid, if y'all want to know.
Can I say something about what our sister Nicole was just talking about?
Oh, go ahead.
About the fact that Michael they make it seem like Michael was targeting boys, but Michael just loved, having kids around and making kids happy and all that stuff. One of the main people who went after him, Wade Robinson, his sister actually spent nights at Michael Jackson's house, and his sister's story does not match up to her brother's story at all. His sister's story actually tells the exact opposite of what happened with what his brother alleged happened. Also, the maid story, and the maid also accused Michael Jackson of these allegations too. The maid who accused Michael Jackson and Robinson who accused Michael Jackson, their accusations actually contradict each other. Both their allegations don't make sense. And then when you put in the sister story who says Michael didn't do anything, she spent multiple nights at Neverland and nothing ever happened. You can tell that the sister is the only one who seems like she's telling the truth, because that's the only story that stayed consistent throughout these years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
So we are going to now move on to the next article, and this is the one that I was able to provide. And this was posted last week. I believe it was last week or maybe a week and a half ago on People, where it says Michael Jackson accuses Wade Robinson and James Safechuck will go to trial over abuse allegations. Now, the last time I had talked about this, it was them just trying to get this to go to trial. I think this was back in, July. And then a month later, a judge said, okay, y'all have been battling this thing for years. We've gone back and forth. It's like playing ping pong at this point, and there's nobody winning. We are going to just finally
consistently, Torin. The lower courts kept throwing it out. They kept throwing it out
because there was nothing there. Like they was like, this is a waste of time. This is a waste of money and resources. Like, we're not about to play this kangaroo court with you. But that's why I said, Nicole, that's why I believe they're just doing this to satisfy them. But I think nothing is going to come of it. Like, they're just doing it to say, okay, let's just do this because we just want to get you out of our face. Because if we don't do this, you're going to keep coming back at us like a boomerang, and we're tired of seeing you. That's the vibe that I got when I talked about this in July. And I'm getting this vibe now that they're just doing this because they just want them, quote unquote, out of their hair. They just don't want to see them anymore. It's like, we know, you're going to lose, but to satisfy you, we will take this to trial. That way, when you do lose, we don't have to see you again, because now you can't say we didn't listen to you. We didn't go to trial.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You good? No, I agree though. I heard you say it. I agree. I hope that this is what it actually boils down to. I really truly believe that this is what they're doing just to satisfy them and say, we heard it. It is what it is, but you're not going to win. But we'll give you the illusion that you probably have a snowball chance in hell of winning, because I'm certain that Michael's estate and his lawyers and the attorneys are going to mop the floor with them. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think about that?
Absolutely. They, like I was saying in my video, they have no. To be honest, I said something like, and I believe they have been sued before, but the fact that they keep going after this again and again and again shows that they don't have anything substantial. If all of the proof that they could have, they're not going to come up with any new proof. If they actually had anything, they would have had it from the beginning. Okay, their case actually gets weaker the farther they go.
Exactly. And on top of that, like Wade Robinson, he is probably one of the most problematic out of the both of them. Not saying that James Safechuck isn't, but Wade Robinson, because he has been so close to the family. We all know he is a choreographer. He's a dancer, very well-known, world-renowned choreographer, has worked with so many people in the past, has probably been with the family more over the years than James Safechuck. Like, he's been like literally around the family to the point where for a while I thought he was a part of the family. Like, he literally was always around them. And Nicole, I'm sure you probably noticed, wasn't Wade dating one of the nieces?
Brandy. Brandy. I interviewed Taj and Brandy for the first time. She was like, that all of it is BS, because he was around me a lot. And what a lot of people don't know is there was a a housekeeper that worked for Michael back in the day in I want to say around 93 or so. They said Michael would not even be there half of the time. And he would try to avoid them, because I think Michael knew, like, these folks are trying to be a little bit too clingy. Let me not be, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I'd been like, okay, you can't come back to my house. Right. But I guess he didn't want to do that because maybe he thought they were trying to come for him. So maybe he's thinking in that aspect. But there was a maid that worked there, a good one, not like the other one we talked about, that said that, Mr. Jackson didn't even want to be around after a while they were there, because it just became too much, So and he dated Brandy, and Brandy said that he cheated on her.
Okay.
So
and also too. Yeah, go ahead, Afro.
Sorry, didn't he cheat with Britney Spears or something like that?
Yep. Justin Timberlake, I believe, or something like that. When they were together, I think they were messing around allegedly. So Wade Robson is not the most upstanding person, and the only reason why this is even happening, guys, is literally because Wade wanted that gig with the estate with Cirque du Soleil.
Yes,
that's
I was going to bring that up.
Reason why this is happening.
Yep, I was going to bring that up because he wanted that gig, and the estate said, basically flat out said no. And this is, in my opinion, a revenge plot or a vendetta that he has against the estate, and not necessarily Michael himself, but he has to bring up this lie in order to keep it going. And didn't he, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he testify in defense of Michael back in 2005?
Yes, he was one of the first ones that, what's his name? I can't believe I'm going blank on his name. Tom Mesereau. Yeah, he's one of the first witnesses. And they said that Tom Snedden, grilled him, and he was unbreakable. I'm like, why would they risk that? It makes no sense. So that means you lied under oath, if that's the case.
Exactly.
But we know he's lying.
Exactly. I wish I could be a fly on the wall when this goes to trial.
And what I find is very interesting is that, as Nicole said, if he lied under oath saying that Michael didn't do anything, because he was examined, like she said, heavy, like 100%. There was almost no way he could have, if he was lying, he would have been able to make it through that. So let's say if he did lie under oath and now he's telling a different story, he just broke the law there.
Perjury.
That's an arrestable offense right there.
Yeah. But we shall see, because everything is eventually everything going to eventually like fall out. I mean, like I said, I'm going to hold on to what I said and stand 10 toes down and say that the court is only hearing this because they're tired of seeing them. Like they said, we'll just take you to court and let you go to court, present your case, but I don't think really anything is going to come of it. And just let this thing die. So now we are going to move on to Nicole's first article, because like I said at the beginning, she has 2 articles, and this first one comes from 2019, and it's talking about leaving Neverland. And I think, Nicole, you were the only one out of the 2 of us that probably watched it, so you are definitely more than qualified to speak on this.
Oh, I never watched it.
Oh, you didn't watch it? I thought you did.
I never watched Leaving Neverland. I refused to watch it. I said I don't even want to stomach it. But what I heard was enough.
I heard some horror stories about it, like it wasn't believable and everything like that. But I'll let you go ahead and talk about it.
Well, like I said, I never watched it. I had no interest in watching it. Plenty of people did have to, stomach through it. And there were just so many lies and inconsistencies, and fans were digging hard, exposing Wade. Everything from them in the train station, Michael allegedly molested one of them in a train station that didn't even exist. Stuff like that wasn't even built into a certain time frame. Michael would do these little mini recordings for folks, wishing them like a happy birthday or whatever. And HBO would manipulate and cut certain parts to make it seem like, on one video where Michael is talking to Wade, and they cut it out, he's saying something like, you need to spend some time with your family, blah, blah, blah. But they made it seem like he was saying, I need to spend more time with you. These are the kind of things they do. Manipulate, lie, twist things, propaganda. So it's so many different things that were found. But personally, I refused to watch it because I knew it was BS anyway. But for those who did watch it, like in this article here, it just exposes it all.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. And then you had the likes of Okra, the Mammy Supreme Wig Free, as I like to call her, going to give them even more airtime to tell their side, quote unquote. You had Wade Robson, James Safechuck, and the director. And didn't this, as you call it, mockumentary, didn't it get nominated for some awards?
I want to say, I think it won an Emmy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it did win an Emmy. And ironically, guess what it was up against? Surviving R. Kelly.
Oh wow.
The irony of it all. And it's crazy because R. Kelly and Michael Jackson actually worked together on that "You Are Not Alone" song. He actually wrote that for him.
Yes, absolutely.
The irony of it all. But now we're gonna move on. Oh, hold on, Afro. Did you have anything you wanted to add? It.
Oh yeah, I wanted to add, like Nicole was saying about the train. One of the things that he was saying when he first went after Wade Robinson, which he's the biggest one. Okay, James Safechuck, he kind of, based off of what I was researching, he kind of like, he was okay, and then he kind of fell into some debt and some financial hard times, and then he kind of jumped on Wayne's train. You know what I'm saying? He was like, okay, well, I can prove I was with Michael Jackson, so let me just, if this is the train that's moving, I might as well get on that because I'm broke right now. But these are some of the inconsistencies that got the courts dismissing what happened. This is why he was not taken serious, because he was saying that Michael was doing things inappropriate with him on a train, and then he gave specific dates to a train, but the train wasn't built until years after the date he said it started happening. So, you know, when he was cross-examining, they was all like, okay, you said it happened in 19, I'm just giving it a date, 1996, but it happened, but the train wasn't built in 1998. So these things made the lie fall apart. Now, what is interesting is that in his original thing, he said that Michael would put an alarm in the hallway and he would lock the door and they would just be in there by themselves. And if anybody would go into the hallway, the alarm would go off and Michael would know that. But that's inconsistent based off of what the maid was saying, because the maid said, and his sister and his mother said that Michael never put an alarm there and he never locked any doors. The mother said that the mother also spent nights at Leaving Neverland as well too. So it wasn't just Michael having kids there. Michael would just have anybody kind of just, you know, you could just pretty much spend a night. That's kind of how it was. So his stories, everything that he says happened, all of the other witnesses tell a different story to what he is saying happened. His story is its own reality. That's why people don't take anything he says serious.
Oh yeah, there were fans that got to spend the night there, and one that's in Square One, I believe her name is Jenny. I've had her on my channel before. She was like, "Yeah, Michael took us throughout his whole house. Nothing was off limits. We could just walk around." And so, yeah, all of that alarm stuff, I mean, it's just bogus. And even if he did have an alarm system in his house, I could understand it. It would totally make sense, because there have been stories where folks actually got into his house. There was a man that got into his house some kind of way. So even if he were to have them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because I don't think because I don't think people understand, not only because of who Michael Jackson was, but how much land he was sitting on as far as Neverland went. Like, he literally, it was a ranch. It was a lot of acres that was covered on there. And that house, it wasn't just one house. It was split into multiple homes, like multiple houses. So people, like, literally, I'll just put it this way. You might become a hide and seek champ at Neverland, because it's so many homes that he had on just that one location. And then on top of that, you know, he had a whole amusement park, theme park inside the home as well. So it was a lot of ground to cover. So if he had an alarm system, I would completely understand wholeheartedly. So we are going to move on to the last article that also was provided by Nicole. And it's interesting too, because I recognize this article because when I was doing my video about them a couple months ago, it was mentioning about that train that you and Afro mentioned about that train not being there when they said it was there, but it wasn't there. So Nicole, do you want to go through all 25 of these?
We'll have to go through. I mean, it's up to you if you want to. It's like backwards on my end, so I don't know if you can read it.
Oh, okay.
It's like flip.
I won't go through, like, they have the descriptions and everything like that. I'll just read what the
Or you can
lies
read
say.
the head titles. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read the head titles. And this was posted and it's in another link. This part is in another language, but everything else is in English.
I was wondering, like, what is that?
It's I think that's the Israel flag, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, maybe you can change it to you.
Change it to English. I don't know why. I don't know how that. Okay, this is
there. It goes.
I don't know how that happened. Okay, 25 lies they told you in Leaving Neverland, and it was posted April 11th, 2021. The first lie is Robson and Safechuck stories are similar, even though they didn't know each other.
Wow. You see?
Yeah, because Safechuck came into contact with Michael way before Wade did. Because I think James Safechuck is older. Yeah, so I think he came in contact with him, I think, before. But it wasn't I don't think it was like a huge gap in between, but I think James knew Michael before Wade did. So the second one reads, Michael replaced me with young Brett Barnes.
And Brett Barnes is still, to this day, he was like, Michael was like the coolest guy, like never slammed him, never smeared him. And that's how you know the difference. You know the difference between someone that's just trying to, feed and extort, and a real friend. And Brett Barnes is a real one.
Right.
And he threatened to sue a lot of, he wanted to sue HBO because they were James and Wade were trying to implicate Brett in it. And he's like, keep my name out your mouth, because that is not what Michael did. He did nothing to me. Don't even dare put me in this nonsense. And I think he threatened to sue HBO, but I don't know what came of it.
Cool. The third one says Michael replaced me with a young Macaulay Culkin. Now we know that's a lie. I know that's a lie, because Michael Jackson and Macaulay Culkin were like really, really, really good friends. Like really good friends. Like Macaulay Culkin and his siblings used to stay out at Neverland, to the point where if Michael could have built a whole separate house for them to be there, he probably would have. Like they was really close.
Till death they were friends.
Yeah,
they wasn't as close in the end, but they were still friends.
You know what's so interesting? Now that we mentioned Macaulay Culkin, I'm sure both of y'all watched that Michael Jackson's private home video special that he had that came on back years ago. You can watch it on YouTube if you've never seen it. Why haven't we ever seen James Safechuck and Wade Robson in any of those videos? We saw Macaulay Culkin in those videos, is in multiple videos, by the way, in multiple settings, whether they were at Neverland or if they were on vacation or doing a promo or something like that. Michael Jackson would be at with Macaulay Culkin at like maybe a movie premiere or something like that. But we never saw James Safechuck or Wade Robson in any of those videos. And around the time those videos were made, which was like 90, when Macaulay Culkin was there, was like 90 or 91. They would have been maybe pre-teens at that time.
I do want to say, I think Wade was in the black or white video and maybe Jam, but
he was. I think he was in the black or white video. I think he was in the black or white video.
Much connection I can recall.
Yeah. But as far as like those other videos, like the ones I was talking about, like you didn't really see them there. But Macaulay Culkin was always there, and Macaulay Culkin was never had anything bad to say about it. As a matter of fact, didn't Michael make Macaulay Culkin the godfather of his kids?
Yeah.
There you go.
And he's still really good friends with. He's really still not friends, but like close with Paris. So yeah.
Okay.
So it just goes to show you this whole, he would just throw us away when we got all this. That's a lie. That's a lie. As you can see, like.
Right.
So
all right. So the next one is, let me scroll down. Michael would keep us apart.
Yeah, that's, you can see in the videos that was not true. That was never true.
No.
Exactly.
I like how they put them all during in
Oh,
court.
right here.
They
Yep.
were all at the same trial. These people are so stupid. They're so stupid. Okay, I can't.
Oh, I didn't know Macaulay Culkin was older than Wade Robson only by 2 years.
Mm.
Oh yeah, here it is right here here it is from the Jam. This is the Jam video right here. This is
Yep.
the Jam set right here. It says Jackson Robson saved Chuck, but they said he would keep us apart. But the pictures show otherwise. They're together.
Yeah.
I mean,
And here's another one when they was at Neverland right there together.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the attorneys could literally go on this website. The fans have already done the work.
Exactly.
They can literally use this as evidence.
Exactly. This is an open and shut case. It shouldn't have been open in the first place, but okay. The fifth one reads the imaginary train station, the one we kept talking about before we got here. So, I mean, yeah, here it is right here. Oh, where's the train station? It's not there. It's not there. They said that train didn't get built until what was it, 1993 or like a year later, I think. Number 6, the Invisible Castle.
Other places James mentions as locations of abuse were the Neverland Castle and the arcade on Small Beds. 3 different people who worked at Neverland debunked these claims as well. The first maintenance manager, Alan, I think it's Seclan, stated that there were never beds of any kind in these places. And yeah, and I follow him on Facebook too. Yep. Yep. That makes sense.
All right, the next one is liar, liar, fake items on fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Fake glove only. This is pure desperation right here. Wow.
Did you know also, I don't know if the article is gonna bring this up. Do you know also Robson had a private, or he tried to have a private auction of the items that he got from Michael, the items that he still, because Michael, would buy. Michael was a very generous person. So Michael used to buy a lot of people gifts. He would just buy people gifts, like, oh, you want something here? You can, he would buy people gifts. So Robson had that. And he wanted to have an auction and he wanted to make it private, but they wouldn't allow him to do that. So he had a public auction of Michael's things that he sold off, and then in the documentary he quote unquote burned all of the belongings that he ever got from Michael. So I think that's very interesting.
And I guess this is supposed to be the stuff that he burned, even though it's all fake.
Yes.
But they want us to believe that it was real. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here. The line number 8, Joy Robson got rid of anything Michael Jackson related. I'm guessing Joy is that his mother?
Yes. Ridiculous. I believe they actually auctioned that stuff off to get money. So yeah, all about money.
Right. This one, line number 9. Michael taught us to hate girls.
I can't believe it's like, I wish this wasn't true, because I mean it's just comical. When he dated Brandy. Hello, look.
Exactly. And look, there they are in 1990. Right there.
Separated, remember?
Exactly.
Wow.
And by the way, I think this was on that LA Gear commercial, because I remember Brandy was the girl in the window who was clapping when he got done dancing. Line number 10. The Robson family faxes.
Both families presented some old mementos from Jackson, but none of them provided evidence that can corroborate any of their claims against him. The Robson family showed 27-year-old fax correspondence between Jackson and Joy, which they describe as love letters for Wade. The faxes scene was even declared as one of the 5 most shocking moments in Leaving Neverland, as if these faxes provide no less than a smoking gun. Lord have mercy. But the fact scene was intended to distract the viewers from the obvious absence of evidence throughout the film. The content of these facts is clearly in no way incriminating, since all it shows is Jackson expressing his affection towards the Robson family, as he often would do with others as well. Chantel, yeah. Wow.
Lie number 11, the Safechuck family tapes.
The only evidence that James presents in Leaving Neverland is a tape of an interview he made with Jackson after his trip to Hawaii with the Safechuck family. In the film, we can hear Jackson saying the best thing about Hawaii was spending time with Jimmy, an obvious attempt to make the interview sound suggestive. However, court documents show the full transcript of the tape, which shows that the tape was edited because in reality, Jackson said the best thing about Hawaii was spending time with Jimmy. I love Jimmy's family and want to spend time with them.
That is, listen, that is some underhanded stuff right there to edit out the whole thing to make it seem very perverted.
HBO, that's your white supremacist media in effect.
Lie number 12, Mark Garagos' doctored statement. I think I've heard you mention his name.
Yes, he was initially the first attorney Michael had over his trial, but they ended up getting rid of him and went for Tom Mesereau.
Okay.
Yes.
Lie number 13, the phone call no one called. What an interesting little, headline right there.
Safechuck alleges that towards the end of the trial, there was an attempt to force him to testify in Jackson's favor, but he wasn't. I remember Scott Ross talking about that. Like, they didn't need him. He says that Jackson and his personal assistant, Evie, called and begged him to testify, and that once he refused to do it, Jackson got angry and threatened him. Factually, however, James Safechuck was irrelevant. Exactly as Scott Ross said on my interview with him. So another lie.
And it's so crazy because now that I see that, it pulls back to when I did the video about this a couple months back, because when I looked through the people who was on like the list to testify, his name was not on there. Like, they had everybody else there but him. I don't know if he felt some type of way because he couldn't be there or not, but they said, we don't need you.
And see, there's a clip from our interview with Scott Ross. Rest in peace, Scott Ross. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Line number 14, the Grammy Awards.
In his civil lawsuit against the Jackson estate and company, Safechuck claims that Jackson flew him to New York to see his Grammy performance in February of '89. According to his complaint, he was along with Jackson on his trip, and ongoing sexual abuse would occur. The problem is Jackson didn't even attend the 1989 Grammys, which was actually held in Los Angeles.
Yeah, because he performed at the 88 Grammys. That was a very iconic performance too, by the way. Afro, did you see that performance?
Actually, no, I didn't see that. I gotta check that.
You have to watch it. That's probably one. And he was gonna give his all because he ain't walk home with one Grammy that night. He said, "Y'all ain't going." He said, "Y'all not going to give me a Grammy? Fine, I'm going to take up your time when I'm performing this song." Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but just know that's probably one of the most iconic Grammy performances of all time.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that just because it's Michael Jackson. I'm saying because it is what it is.
True. Yeah, they snubbed him that night.
They definitely did.
Yeah.
All right, line number 15, out in the open.
Let's see. Despite portraying Jackson as a paranoid and very cautious abuser who would put a great deal of effort to not get caught, James Safechuck alleges he had been molested in every possible and impossible corner at Neverland. Among them are places that are out in the open that anyone could see at any time. Safechuck claims to have been molested in the swimming pool at Neverland. However, the Neverland swimming pool was located in a central area that any visitor, security, or employee could see from the distance. Yeah. James Safechuck tells of a time he and Jackson almost got caught in the act by his mother. The movie theater had two like private rooms. It had big glass windows so you can see the theater. And so we would have sex while in these rooms. That was a bit dangerous, but there's a bit excitement there. James' mother, Stephanie, corroborated his story when she dramatically described how one night she tried to enter the movie theater when Jackson was there with her son, but the doors were locked from the inside. The
Wow.
scenario turned out to be impossible as well. Theater doors at Neverland had panic exit devices, also known as crash bars, and couldn't have been locked from the inside. According to Alan, who built the Neverland Theater, locking the doors was only possible from the outside, and the only ones who had the key were the security men. Yeah, lies. There was security all over the place, like security guards. So yeah.
And this goes back to what I was saying before. Michael never locked his doors. Michael never locked his doors. So the whole he would lock us in a room and everything like that, that would be disproved by a lot of his staff. Like, no, his staff was, able to just kind of just like freely walk around and just like go in any room they wanted to at any time, really.
And these are clear. I'm sorry, Afro Elite. And these were clear windows. And then this theater, they said what the reason why he had it like that is when sick kids would come that were sick, they could still watch the movie through the window. That's why it's like that. That's why the beds were in there. You see how sick they turned it into?
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? If they didn't do all of this, I kept saying to myself, they could have made Neverland a museum, like a Michael Jackson museum. That would have been a huge tourist attraction that would have raked in a whole bunch of money for the estate to this day. But they tainted it.
Well, that too, but they said also due to zoning of where it's at, they said it can't be turned into a museum because they were like, why can't they? And they said because of the area and its other homes around and zoning, they won't allow it. So that's the main reason why.
Well, okay. Well, I'll take that because if I lived around there, I wouldn't want that area to be that busy.
Yeah, people in and out. Yeah.
Let's see. Line number 16. Grand inconsistencies.
Yeah, it's a lot in there. I don't want to.
I completely.
I try to kind of read it, but
I completely understand. Line number 17. The nicknames. So we got some imagery here.
The film also deals with the nicknames Jackson gave Robson and Safe Chuck: Rubberhead, Applehead, and Doodoo Head, implying these names are suggestive and sexual. Former child star Emmanuel Lewis, who used to hang out with him a lot, who was one of Jackson's friends, explained that he was the one who came up with the name Rubber. Everyone called everyone Rubber. It didn't mean anything. Indeed, dozens of videos online confirm Jackson called everyone by these nicknames: his friends, his own children, his nieces, nephews, and cousins. We were the first Rubber, Doodoo, and Appleheads, wrote Yashi Brown, Jackson's niece, in reaction to the film, which is Reeby's daughter. Yes, and that is all true. I was going to say something too in regards to this. Yes, but the family, they all call each other Janet. They used to call her Dunk because of her butt. So they all had nicknames like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they tried to make it something perverted.
Yeah.
That is like when you think about it in hindsight, that's really messed up.
Yeah. They take something and pervert it out. Yeah. That's your media for you.
Line number 18. Way off camera. Is that Wade Robson? Yeah.
In Leaving Neverland, Robson says Jackson gave him a video camera as a sexual favor gift right after his last alleged abuse at the age of 14. The next morning, he handed me some new light camera that he had gotten that I could play with. This dude.
Okay. I guess. Line number 19. The reason why Robson testified in Jackson's defense.
Wow. Ever since Robson filed his lawsuit in 2013, repeatedly claimed that he didn't realize he was abused. That's the lie he was using. And that he didn't know it was wrong. And that's why he testified in court that Jackson had never molested him. Nevertheless, Robson contradicts his own claim in the film and in his lawsuit. One time during the film, he explains he decided to testify in Jackson's favor because he felt bad for his three children and didn't want them to lose their father. Robson's concern suggests he was very aware that such a relationship would be wrong and inappropriate. On the stand, he answered specific and explicit questions under oath and stated he was aware that Jackson could end up in prison if convicted.
And this right here is just basically all the questions that they asked him right here.
Now,
Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
Now, the thing is that if he did not know, let's say he had no idea what molestation was or whatever, if he didn't know that, then when he was being examined, he would naturally tell the truth because he wouldn't even know to lie. You know, because they're not going to say, did Michael do this? Did Michael molest you? Yes or no? Oh, no. That's not what it is. They're going to ask very explicit details. Okay, well, did this happen? Did this happen? Did this happen? He said no to all those things. He's saying before he testified on behalf of Michael because he didn't know anything. Well, if he didn't know anything, then that would mean he would just naturally tell the truth because he didn't know he would have to protect Michael because he didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So how could you lie so efficiently if you didn't even know what molestation was and you didn't know you had to lie about it?
Right.
You know, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Lie number 20. Michael gave the Safe Chucks a house because they defended him.
We wanted to buy another house, and Michael gave us a loan at a very low percentage rate. My husband had already had a deposition. We were on Michael's camp. My son also for Michael. And after he was all set and done is when Michael forgave the debt. Michael said, no, I don't want you to pay me anymore. It's a gift. So he did buy us a house. It's just coincidental. He wasn't buying us off, but the timing is right there. Just sounds bad. Stephanie Safechuck insinuated that Jackson gifted them with a new house after they testified in his defense in 94. The actual timeline, however, completely refutes her insinuations. Documents show that James Safechuck's parents asked Jackson if he could help them buy a new house in May 1992. Jackson agreed to help, and his trust provided them with a fixed loan for $305,000 with a loan interest rate. Okay, so basically, it was more of a loan. They had to pay him back, so it wasn't for free. That's what it sounds like.
Cool.
Okay, whatever. That would sound like y'all.
Line number 21. Robson and Safechuck have nothing to gain.
Oh, really?
That was the same face. I was like, really? Oh, really now? Well, then why are we even doing this then? Why are you even doing that? Like you have nothing to gain. We know you want money. That's really all this is. You ain't doing this for your health. You're trying to get paid.
You're not trying to send Michael to jail.
Right. You trying to get them dividends.
I read somewhere, I don't know. Is it true that they're suing for $1 billion? I think I read somewhere.
Oh yeah, they batting up. They batting way above their pay grade. They trying to get $1 billion.
That's what I think. I read
yeah, like I would laugh them. I would laugh them before they even got to the court on the court steps. Let's see, number 22. Line number 22. Dancing Stephanie. What in the world?
Safechuck said she was lying in bed when she first learned about Jackson's sudden death in 2009, which was actually reported around 2 p.m. GMT. I danced when I heard that he died. I was lying in bed. The news came on and I got out of bed and I was like, oh, thank God. He can't hurt anyone. He can't hurt any more children. I'm sorry. Those were my thoughts. I was so happy he died. But according to her son, he never told anyone about his abuse and didn't realize he was abused until he saw Wade Robson's interview in 2013. And only then he told his family about it. Stephanie couldn't have known about the alleged abuse 4 years before James told her about it.
Y'all, this is all coming from that Leaving Neverland POS.
I remember this.
We didn't watch.
I remember this. It was like, wait a minute, but he didn't tell anybody. So how do you already?
Right.
And hold on. James is Safechuck is older than Robson is.
Yes.
Right? Isn't he? He's like, or at least like what, 3 or 4 years older, right?
Something like that, I believe.
So
let me double check.
So he didn't know about what molestation was until he saw Robson testify against it. He was like, oh, I guess that is inappropriate. You know what? That happened to me too. Like you as a grown adult, you didn't know that until you saw somebody on TV say that.
Yeah.
See, this is boy. Let me shut up. Let me shut up.
Y'all, we only got 3 more lies. We only got 3 more lies left, and so far, this is probably the goofiest one. It took us 22 lies to get to the goofy one.
Oh God.
Let's see. Lie number 23. Michael pushed us away from our families.
You can tell that's a lie.
That's a lie because he had the families there.
Exactly.
He had the families there would be there. Yeah, they would be there. Like they would be right there with them. As a matter of fact, it was very highly recommended that the families were there.
Mm-hmm. This is her who I was talking about earlier, the maid, one of the good maids, Judy Brissy. She was the one. She said, I worked in the house at Neverland with the Safe Chucks. When the Safe Chucks were around there in the early 90s, they had no problem taking advantage of Mr. Jackson's generosity back then. Michael was never on the property when they came. He chose not to be. That's who I was talking about. See?
Okay.
You see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also heard that too. Like, that he a lot of times probably wouldn't even be there.
Yeah, he'd be gone.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be like torn or something.
I would hear that the family would kind of harass Michael. Yes. Like the family would almost force themselves. Like the second Michael was like, hey, y'all cool or whatever, they would kind of intrude on Michael's space all the time. Like almost pack their suitcases and move in damn near.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's go to line number 24. Never left Neverland.
The film focuses on Robson and Safe Chuck's traumatic experiences at Neverland. But yet Robson, this is true. Robson loved it so much he wanted to get married at Neverland. I forgot about that when he got married to his wife.
Oh, this woman right here.
I think this is what this Robson and
his wife Amanda at the Neverland Ranch in 2008. Okay. And lie number 20. We made it to the end, y'all. Lie number 25. Nothing's emerged that cast any doubt on what they told.
It says if you got this far, the lies should be pretty obvious. Leaving Neverland, director Dan Reed defended the many flaws in his film and stated his research was nothing short of perfect. You mean his propaganda piece?
Do you know how cocky you got to be to say it's nothing short of perfect?
That's that old, I'm white and I say so. Y'all know what that is.
Right. Okay. I mean, you sound very confident of yourself, but okay.
I've never heard nobody say that about their. It's nothing short of perfect. I'm like, damn. Okay. You believe your hype a lot with that one right there.
We don't even have to read the rest of that. I mean, like, it's pretty obvious.
And if you want to show Torian, if you want to just show like before we leave where to go for Square One, I think it's so important to watch. That is such a great.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I can pull it up. You said it's on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon and YouTube. You can pull it up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but it's so good. I'm
gonna see it as soon as this is over with.
Because it just the way they put it together and how it's just how the 93 was just the foundation for people to use to extort Michael is basically how they put it together, and how the media would give folks if their kids knew Michael or were in his presence. Did he touch you? Did he do this? We'll give you $50,000 if you were in his house. We'll give you $200,000 if he touched you. I mean, they were paying people this. Mm-hmm. And that's why people get out here and lie.
Okay, here it is right here. It's I just typed it into Google and it says where to watch. It's a lot of places. It says you can watch it on Tubi, the Roku channel, Plex, Free Movies, and let's see, Educational Black Cinema, Prime Video, or Apple. Here it is on YouTube right here under a YouTube name, Danny Wu. Yes, it was posted. It was posted October 5th, 2019. So yes, it has it right there. It even has the key moments in the video. It says weekly assemblies, FBI files, media frenzy, vitiligo, the Linden affidavit, and so on and so forth. It looks like the documentary is a little over an hour and 20 minutes long. So good for a drive. If you're going on a long drive or you at the gym, something you can listen to. There it is.
Do they have a like a trailer? I want to say there's a trailer for it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a trailer for it right here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, but that's it. And ironically, that one didn't get pushed.
Of course not.
Yeah, that one did not get pushed. But they was pushing the hell out of that Leaving Neverland one, though, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. That's the one that we push consistently. And there are a few more out there. The Lies of the Leaving Neverland or something like that, that you could type it on YouTube, it'll come up. But yeah, there are a lot out there that debunk that whole entire like Chris what's his name, Sean James calls it, he has a word for it, docugandas. I love it because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have made it to the end, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed what we had to present. We did a little over an hour, going over this. And like I said, I strategically uploaded this video today because it is Michael Jackson's birthday. Go listen to a song, or listen to not just a song, go listen to albums. There's several out there that you can choose from. Even listen to the songs that were not released. Let me know down in the comments if you can. What's your favorite song by Michael Jackson? Like, what is your favorite album? Your favorite? I'm gonna be respectful. What is your favorite short film? Because he said he didn't like videos. He said he liked short films. By Michael Jackson. And definitely share this information with as many people as possible. Because this is something that definitely needs to be pushed out there, because that trial is going to be approaching, and it could get buried under a lot of other things, because so much stuff in the news is always piling up, and you can easily not find this anywhere unless you actually research it and look for it. But before we actually get out of here, Afro, let the people know where they can find you at.
You guys can find me on YouTube at Afro Elite on YouTube, just Afro Elite on YouTube, pretty much Afro Elite everywhere. It's Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on X, which is formerly Twitter. So,
the
app formerly known as Twitter. Go.
Right. It's funny that they call it X, but you still can type in twitter.com and it'll take you right there.
Yeah.
It's like they haven't changed that URL yet. So who knows when they actually going to do it. But Nicole, let them know where they can find you at.
Oh, thank you so much, Torian, for inviting me. Thank you for joining us, Afro Elite. And Afro Elite, I want to say, keep up the great work. I see your work with Ozone and all that. I'm so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to come back on my channel, and we're going to talk about, other current events, what's going on, because there's so much going on out here. I just have to take a break from YouTube, but I'm going to get back on. I need to. It's too much going on, and a lot of things I want to talk about. But I'm proud of you, Afro, for doing what you're doing. Torian, I'm always proud of you. You're one of the first people that got me to get on YouTube, you and Harvey. So I always am thankful to you. But y'all can find me on Nicole's View. It's been a minute since I've been on, but I'll be there. I'm on Twitter at Black BOK Liberation 84, on X, formerly known as Twitter. And I'm on Facebook under Denotra Nicole Starling. You can find me there. But yeah, I'm a little bit of everywhere, but I'm going to come back on YouTube though. So y'all look out.
Okay, cool. Cool. And y'all already know who I am. Again, if you have not done so already, make sure y'all go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you are new, click the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe and be one.